Washington Congress gave final approval on Thursday to legislation to keep the government funded into January, averting a government shutdown this weekend but kicking fights over issues like immigration, surveillance, and health care into the new year. The Stopgap spending bill extends government funding until January 19 while also providing a short-term funding fix for the Children's Health Insurance Program, or CHIP, whose financing lapsed at the end of September. After the House and Senate succeeded in passing a $1.5 trillion tax overhaul this week, the Stopgap bill includes language to prevent automatic spending cuts that would be required to offset the tax bill's effect on the deficit. The House passed the bill 231 to 188, with most Republicans voting for it and most Democrats opposing it. The Senate later gave its approval, as well. The extension of government funding saves Republicans from what would have been a colossal embarrassment just after they celebrated passage of the biggest tax rewrite in decades. But the lack of a resolution to several pressing issues leaves lawmakers facing a tough task when they return after the holidays, with the possibility of a high-stakes showdown when the next government funding deadline approaches. "It never seems to get any easier, right?" said Representative Mario Diaz-Balart, Republican of Florida. "January is going to be a bear." Separately, the House voted Thursday to approve $81 billion in additional disaster aid in response to this year's hurricanes and wildfires. But the Senate does not plan to take action on the aid package until the new year. The failure to resolve so many issues left bruised feelings in both parties. Promised bills to shield young immigrants from deportation, extend a surveillance program, bolster the military and stabilize health insurance markets were all left for another day. Representative Nita M. Lowey of New York, the ranking Democrat on the House Appropriations Committee, declared the Stopgap bill to be an epic failure of governing. But the disappointment was not enough to keep Congress away from its holiday break. Lawmakers needed to take action because government funding was set to lapse at the end of Friday, though as Thursday began, it was unclear whether Republican leaders would be able to find the votes they needed to avert a crisis. President Trump weighed in on Twitter in the morning, accusing Democrats of wanting a government shutdown in order to take attention away from the tax overhaul. Representative Alcee L. Hastings, Democrat of Florida, read Mr. Trump's tweet aloud at a House committee meeting and said that he knew no Democrat or Republican who wants to shut the government down. Mr. Trump, he said, needs to put his Twitter account under his pillow and sleep on it rather than continue to divide this country the way that he has. On Capitol Hill, the big question was whether enough Republicans would support the Stopgap spending bill in the House in order to pass it. Many Republicans in the House have grown impatient as they seek to raise military spending. An earlier Stopgap bill would have included long-term funding for the Defense Department, but Republicans ended up backing away from that approach, which could not get through the Senate.